He slapped the divorce papers onto my ICU tray like it was a menu, not my life. "Sign it," he said, eyes flat. "I want a perfect wife, not a burden in a wheelchair." I signed immediately. He smiled cold and leaned in like he was doing me a favor. "Cool, pay the hospital bills yourself." I just said, "Okay." The pen felt too light in my fingers, like it wasn't real. The room smelled like bleach and plastic tubing, and the heart monitor kept doing that steady beep-beep like it didn't know my whole world just cracked open. My legs were wrapped, heavy and numb, and the wheelchair sat by the wall like an insult with wheels. He tucked the papers into his jacket like he'd won something. "I'll be back later," he said, already halfway turned. "Sure," I said again. My voice came out calm, almost sweet. That part surprised even me. A nurse with kind eyes, Rosa, her badge said, stepped in right after he left. She glanced at the papers, then at my face. "You okay, honey?" I stared at the door he'd walked out of. "Yeah," I lied, "I'm good." Rosa didn't buy it. She adjusted my blanket, gentle like she'd done it 1,000 times for people who got hit by life. "Want me to call someone? Family? Friend?" I thought about calling my mom and my throat tightened. Mom would cry. Mom would rush here and make it loud. I didn't want loud, not yet. "I've got it," I said. "Just give me a minute." Rosa nodded, but before she left, she lowered her voice. "I saw him at the desk earlier. He asked about billing first, not you." That little detail landed like a pebble in my shoe, small, annoying, impossible to ignore. When she walked out, I let my face stay still, but inside, something old and soft in me died. Not like a dramatic movie thing, more like a quiet switch flipping off. Because here's the truth, Evan didn't become cold today, he just stopped pretending. 2 years ago, he carried me over the threshold of our first house like a cheesy rom-com guy. We were broke, happy, and dumb in the cute way. He'd kiss my forehead and say, "We're a team, babe, ride or die." Back then, I worked as a physical therapy assistant. I was on my feet all day, hands-on with people, sweaty ponytails, sneakers that always smelled like sanitizer. Evan was in medical device sales, slick shirts, big smile, always networking. He loved saying that word like it meant he was building an empire. We used to laugh in the kitchen at midnight, sharing noodles straight out the pot. We had plans, a baby eventually, a bigger place when it makes sense, a trip to Miami next year for sure. Then my accident happened on an ordinary Tuesday. 1 second I was crossing the street outside my clinic, thinking about lunch. The next second there was tires screeching, a hard smack, and the world tilting sideways. I remember the taste of metal in my mouth. I remember the sky too bright, like someone turned the brightness all the way up. After that, everything became hospital air and pain that came in waves, doctors talking in calm voices. Evan showing up with flowers the first week, acting like husband of the year, posting photos of my hand in his with captions like "she's strong," like I was a charity project. But the longer I stayed broken, the less patient he got. It started small, a sigh when I needed help getting into bed, a tight jaw when I asked him to bring my meds. The way he'd say, "Babe, I'm exhausted," like my body was doing this to him on purpose. One night, a month into rehab, I heard him on the phone in the hallway. He didn't know I was awake. Yeah, still in the chair," he muttered. "It's complicated." Pause. "No, I'm handling it. I'm not a bad guy." The way he said bad guy, all defensive, all rehearsed, made my stomach turn. After that, I started paying attention, like really paying attention. In the ICU, right after the divorce papers, my phone buzzed on the side table. A text from Evan popped up on the lock screen. "Evan, don't forget you're responsible for your half now." My half. Like my spine snapped in half on a payment plan. I tapped the notification and saw another message right above it, one he'd sent earlier and apparently forgotten to delete on our shared account. "Evan, did you move the account yet? I need it clean before she checks." My thumb went cold. My heart monitor sped up like it was trying to warn me, "Clean before I check." I stared at the words until they blurred. Then I forced myself to breathe slow, even though my lungs wanted to panic. Evan wasn't just leaving me, he was preparing for me like I was an opponent. I set the phone down and looked at the wheelchair by the wall again. "Perfect wife," I whispered, tasting the phrase like poison. "Not a burden, okay? If he wanted perfect, I'd give him perfect, just not the kind he was expecting." Back when Evan and I were good, we were good. We met at a friend's backyard thing, cheap beer, string lights, everybody laughing too loud. He came up behind me and said, "You look like you could use a rescue from small talk." I laughed, and he smiled like he'd been practicing it his whole life. He wasn't always cruel, he was careful, that's what I see now. He knew how to sound like a hero, he knew how to look like a husband. When we got married, I was the steady one. I did the boring stuff: bills, taxes, insurance. I kept a little savings account we called the "oh crap fund." He teased me for it, but he loved what it did for him, made life smooth, made him look successful. Evan loved nice things: nice watch, nice dinners, nice car. He'd say, "Babe, relax, money comes back." I'd say, "Not if you treat it like it's magic." He'd kiss my cheek and go, "That's why I got you." It used to feel sweet, like teamwork. Then the accident happened, and suddenly I wasn't useful to his image anymore. That's when the cracks got loud. At first, he played the part: flowers, photos, that sad voice he used with doctors, but behind it, he was irritated. Like my pain was an inconvenience he didn't order. One evening in rehab, I asked him to bring me my laptop so I could check our accounts. My paycheck had stopped, disability paperwork was slow, bills don't care. He didn't look up from his phone. "Why, I'm handling it." "I just want to see," I said. He gave me this quick smile with no warmth. "Babe, trust me." That word trust started sounding like a threat. Little things stacked up after that. He changed the passcode on our shared iPad and acted like it was normal. He turned his phone face down every time a message came in. His shirt started smelling like a sweet perfume that wasn't mine, like vanilla and something sharp. When I asked him, he didn't even blink. "It's the hospital soap, babe, you're trippin'." Hospital soap didn't smell like that, but the biggest change, he got obsessed with paperwork. He kept bringing forms, always forms. "Sign this so I can talk to billing," he'd say. "Sign this for the insurance. Sign this so I can pick up your prescriptions." At first I thought he was stepping up, then I started noticing how he'd hover while I signed. How he'd angle the clipboard so I couldn't read the fine print, how he'd snatch the papers fast like he didn't want me staring too long. One day I said, "Let me read it." He laughed too quick. "You're really doing this right now?" "Yes," I said. "I am." His eyes flashed, then he softened his voice like a switch. "Baby, you're on meds, you're stressed, let me carry this." Carry it like I was baggage. So in the ICU, after he dumped those divorce papers on me, my mind snapped into this weird calm, like my body was wrecked but my brain finally woke up. I opened our banking app with shaky fingers. Face ID still worked. My heart was pounding so hard I could hear it in my ears over the beeping machines. And there it was, a new linked account I didn't recognize, not a familiar bank, not our usual savings, something fresh, something private, under it. Address updated. My stomach dropped. He'd changed our mailing address, not to the hospital, not to our house, to a P.O. box. I clicked deeper, more changes, notifications turned off, paper statements disabled. Two-factor authentication switched to his number. He hadn't just been handling it. He'd been sealing it shut. Then I saw a scheduled transfer big enough to make me dizzy, money from our joint account heading out in 2 days. I whispered, "Oh my God." Rosa walked in and caught my face. "What's wrong?" I swallowed hard. Can you charge my phone and bring me a pen, and I need to call someone." She didn't ask questions. Just nodded and moved fast. I called Maya, my best friend since forever. She answered on the first ring. "Girl, what's going on?" she said, voice tight. I didn't cry, I didn't rant, I just said, "Evan's moving money, he changed addresses. He locked me out, I think he's been planning this." There was a pause, then Maya went quiet in a scary way. "Screenshot everything," she said. "Right now, every screen, every change. And don't tell him you know." I stared at the scheduled transfer again. 2 days. Enough time for him to take what he wanted and leave me stuck with the bills. And that's when another alert popped up on my phone, bright and ugly on the lock screen. "New credit account activity detected." I didn't open it yet. I just sat there feeling the room tilt, thinking he didn't just want to leave me, he wanted to bury me. I tapped the credit alert with my thumb shaking so hard I almost dropped the phone. "New account opened, congratulations." That word, congratulations, made me want to throw up. A credit card in my name, opened yesterday, address. That same P.O. box. I stared at it until my eyes burned. My mouth went dry. The ICU air felt thicker, like it was pushing on my chest. Rosa came in with my charger and a fresh cup of ice chips. She took one look at my face and said, "Honey, what is it?" "He opened something in my name," I said, voice low. "While I'm in here." Rosa's jaw tightened. That man, I swallowed. Can you, my voice cracked, then I forced it steady. Can you tell me when I was sedated, like the exact times? Rosa didn't ask why, she just nodded like she'd already decided she was on my side. I can check your chart. When she stepped out, my phone buzzed again. Evan, you good? Evan, don't make this harder than it has to be. I stared at his texts, the fake concern, the quiet threat. Then another message popped up, not from him, an unknown number. Unknown, he said you'd be asleep. Did he get you to sign? My blood went cold. I didn't answer. I just stared at the screen like it might bite me. Maya called right then, like she felt it. Talk to me, she said. No hello, just business. I told her, all of it, the new card, the P.O. box. The weird text? Maya went silent for 2 seconds, then she said, okay, listen, he's moving like someone who's done this before. He's not smart enough, I whispered. Yes, he is, Maya said. Because he thinks you're weak right now. That hit me harder than the accident. Maya continued, we need one thing, one clean piece of proof that can't be talked away. What counts as clean? I asked. Something with dates, she said. Something with your name on it and a time you physically couldn't have done it. I looked down at my legs under the blanket, heavy, numb, a wheelchair waiting. Okay, I said. After we hung up, I opened the banking app again and went deeper. I found the transfer details, who it was going to, not a person, a business account name that sounded harmless like a small company, but the email tied to it made my stomach drop. It wasn't mine. It was Evan Rivera and a second email under recovery that wasn't even close to ours. A name I didn't recognize. Kay Lane, I mouthed it silently. Kay Lane, my mind flashed to that sweet perfume smell, vanilla and sharp. The way he'd started coming home late from a client dinner. The way he stopped touching me like I was fragile glass he didn't want to hold. So it wasn't just money, it was a replacement. Rosa came back with a small printout in her hand. Her eyes were soft, but her voice was firm. You were sedated yesterday, she said. From 2:11 p.m. to 7:46 p.m., my throat tightened. That's when the card was opened, Rosa nodded once. I checked. The room went quiet except for the monitor beep and the far-off sound of a cart rolling down the hall. Can you tell me, I asked, if he visited during that window? Rosa hesitated, then said, visitors get logged. I can't print that, but I can tell you what I saw. I watched her face. He was here, she said. He came in around 3, stayed about 20 minutes. He wasn't talking to you, you were out. My fingers curled around my phone. What was he doing? Rosa's mouth pressed into a thin line. He was standing by your bag, my bag. My purse wasn't in the room, but my backpack was under the chair, tucked against the wall. The one with my wallet, the one with my ID. I suddenly remembered Evan helping me pack it before the ambulance took me, his hands moving too fast. His voice too calm. Don't worry, babe, he'd said. I got your stuff. I opened my backpack right there, slow, careful, like I was checking a crime scene. My wallet was inside, but the card slots looked wrong. Like somebody had flipped through them in a hurry, and my driver's license was not where I kept it. I dug deeper, fingers trembling, heart racing. Then I found it, my license shoved behind a folded paper I didn't recognize. A hospital form. Authorization to release billing information, name, mine signature, mine, and at the bottom, a timestamp. Signed yesterday, 3:07 p.m. I stared at the signature. It looked like mine, but too neat, too perfect. Like someone copied it instead of writing it. My mouth went dry again. I couldn't even feel my legs, but I could feel this hot and sharp behind my ribs. Rosa leaned in, eyes flashing. You didn't sign that? No, I said, voice flat. I didn't. The pieces snapped together so clean it almost made me dizzy. The P.O. box, the credit card, the transfer, the form, his 20-minute visit while I was out. He wasn't leaving me, he was stripping me, and the worst part, he still thought he could smile in my face and call it love. I held the paper up and my hand finally stopped shaking, because now I had what Maya asked for, a date. A time, a signature I couldn't have made. And I wasn't going to warn him, not yet, not when he was so close to stepping into the part of the story where he'd realize I wasn't the burden. I was the lesson. Evan came back that night like nothing happened. Same clean shirt, same shiny watch, same cologne that smelled expensive and wrong in a room that smelled like bleach. He walked in with a coffee for himself, not me, and a little smile like we were still a couple. Hey, he said softly. How you feeling? Like I got hit by a truck, I said. He chuckled like that was cute. Yeah, you've been through a lot. Then his eyes slid to my bag by the wheelchair, quick, hungry, like he was checking if it was still there. I kept my face calm, I kept my voice light. You got the papers filed? His smile tightened. Yep, you did the right thing, I said like I agreed. Inside, my stomach was ice. He stepped closer and lowered his voice. Listen. We need to be practical now. The bills, the rehab, you know. I nodded slowly. Yeah, practical. He leaned on the bed rail like he owned it. I talked to billing, they'll want payment arrangements, but it's fine. We'll figure it out. I repeated. He blinked, then corrected himself fast. You'll figure it out, you're strong. There it was, a tiny slip. I watched him with my softest eyes. My memory's kinda messed up, I said. The meds make everything fuzzy. He relaxed like that sentence was a gift. Exactly, he said, quick. That's why you gotta stop stressing yourself. You're not thinking straight right now. He said it like a fact, not a worry. I lifted my hand a little. Can you show me what I signed earlier? I just wanna remember. Evan's jaw twitched. Why? I shrugged. So I don't freak out later. I hate not knowing stuff. He sighed, annoyed for half a second, then put his sweet voice back on. Babe, you already signed. Don't do this. I'm not doing anything, I said gently. I just wanna see. He stared at me like he was deciding how much to give. Then he pulled a folded paper from his jacket and waved it, not close enough for me to read. You signed an authorization for billing info, he said. Normal stuff. I signed it yesterday, I asked, careful. Yes, he said too fast. You were awake. I tilted my head. Rosa said I was out yesterday afternoon, sedated. His eyes flashed just for a heartbeat, then he smiled bigger like he was talking to a kid. Rosa's mistaken, he said. You know nurses, they get mixed up. Another microslip. He didn't say she might be wrong. He said mistaken, like he needed it to be true. I let my shoulders sag like I was embarrassed. Maybe I'm mixing it up, I said. I just don't want to look stupid. His face softened. He reached out and touched my hand, but it wasn't love touch, it was control touch. Baby, he said, you're emotional because you're scared. And that's okay, but you can't start accusing me of things. It's not a good look. Accusing, so he knew there was something to accuse him of. I swallowed, acting small. I'm not accusing. Good, he said, and his smile came back. Because I'm the only one actually handling stuff. He glanced at my phone on the table. By the way, you've been on your phone a lot. My friend's checking on me, I said. He nodded like he approved. Then he said casual, don't call your mom yet, she'll blow this up. That one hit hard. He didn't want noise. He didn't want witnesses. He leaned closer, voice dropping. Look, I'm not the bad guy here. I didn't ask for this life. You think I wanted a wife in a wheelchair? There it was, the real him. I stared at him, let my eyes get wet but not too wet. So you're mad at me? He rolled his eyes like I was exhausting. I'm not mad, I'm just done. And you need to accept it. Then he smiled again like he could clean it up with charm. I'm still being fair, I'm not leaving you with nothing. I kept my voice shaky on purpose. You said I have to pay the hospital bill. Well, he said, you're the patient, it's your body, your responsibility. I almost laughed, almost. Instead I whispered, okay. He exhaled, relieved, like he'd trained me back into place. Then he pulled out one more form. And I need you to sign this too, just so I can keep talking to billing and insurance. Your vision's blurry, right? I'll tell you what it says. He positioned the clipboard so I couldn't read it. Same move as always. I looked up at him and nodded. Okay, Evan's eyes warmed with victory. See, this is better, you trusting me. His phone buzzed in his pocket. I saw the screen light up through the fabric for half a second. Kendra read. He turned slightly, shielding it fast but not fast enough. Then he looked back at me and said, smooth as glass, it's work. Work. In a room full of machines keeping me alive, he still lied like it was breathing. I took the pen in my hand and held it above the line, acting weak. Can you repeat the address again? I asked softly. For the billing stuff so I don't forget. He didn't think, he just answered. P.O. Box, he said, it's private. It's better. Then he froze because he realized he'd said the quiet part out loud. I smiled up at him like I didn't notice, like I was still the burden. Okay, I said again and lowered the pen toward the paper. But in my head, I wasn't signing anything. I was baiting him, and he was walking right into it. Maya showed up the next morning with a tote bag, a tired face, and that look she gets when she's done playing nice. She didn't hug me all soft. She leaned close and said, "Okay, I saw your screenshots. I saw the timestamps. He's not just leaving, he's robbing you while you can't stand up." Rosa was in the room too, pretending to tidy, but her eyes stayed sharp. Like she was standing guard, Maya set her bag on the chair and pulled out a plain notebook and a cheap little folder. "First thing," she said, "you stop acting like you're scared of him, you act like you're confused." "That's what he wants you to be," I swallowed. "I can do confused." "Good," Maya said. "Second thing, we lock down what we can quietly, no drama, no warnings, let him think he's winning." Rosa glanced at the door and murmured, "He likes thinking he's in control." "Exactly," Maya said. My phone buzzed. Evan, I'm coming by later. Evan, don't start any weird stuff." Maya read it over my shoulder and laughed once, mean and dry. "He's scared." "I don't get why," I whispered. "He's the one doing it." Maya pointed at my chest. "Because you're not crying, that's why." Rosa stepped closer and lowered her voice. "Billing called this morning. They asked for your husband by name like he's the patient." My skin prickled. "What did you say?" "I said you're the only patient," Rosa replied, "and I wrote a note in the system that you want direct contact." Maya gave Rosa a grateful look. "You're a real one." Rosa shrugged, but her mouth tightened. "I don't like men who kick sick women." Maya opened the notebook. "Here's the plan," she said. "Simple, we get him talking while he thinks you're weak, we catch him slipping, then we take away the two things he cares about." I frowned. "What two things?" Maya's eyes were cold. "Money and his new little fantasy girl." My stomach flipped. "Kendra," Maya nodded like, "Yeah, her. He's using her and she's using him. We just nudge the truth into the light and let them eat each other." Rosa leaned in. "Without cops." Maya's smile didn't reach her eyes. "Without cops." I exhaled slowly. The air smelled like disinfectant and hospital coffee, but my brain felt clear for the first time in weeks. "What do I do?" I asked. Maya pointed at my phone. "You text him like you're still compliant, sweet, small. Like you need him." My throat tightened. "I hate that." "I know," Maya said, "but you're not doing it to beg, you're doing it to bait." Rosa adjusted my IV line and whispered, "You can do this." So I typed with steady fingers. "Me, hey, I'm sorry for being emotional. The meds mess with me. Me, can you bring all the papers next time? I just want to understand what I signed." Me, also, what's the P.O. box again? I keep forgetting. Disappointed face. Maya watched my screen like a coach. "Perfect," she said. "Not too smart, not too needy, just helpless." We waited. My heart thumped slow and heavy like it was counting down. Evan replied 5 minutes later. "Evan, it's fine. Stop stressing. Evan, I'll handle it." Evan, P.O. Box 1142. "Don't talk to billing yourself, you'll confuse them." Maya's eyebrows lifted. "There, he just told you to stay quiet." "That's control," Rosa muttered. "He talks like you're a child." Maya took my phone and screenshot that message too, then she handed it back. "Now we build the trap." She leaned in, voice low. "Tonight when he comes, you do 3 things. You ask questions you already know the answers to, you let him correct you, you let him feel superior. And you keep him talking long enough to say something he can't unsay." My mouth went dry. "Like what?" "Like admitting you signed while sedated," Maya said. "Like admitting he changed the address, like admitting he opened a card for emergencies. Men like Evan talk when they think the room belongs to them." Rosa nodded. "He already slips." Maya sat back and opened her folder. Inside were printed screenshots and dates, neat and clean. "And while you keep him busy," she said, "I'm gonna be doing my part." "What's your part?" I asked. Maya's grin turned sharp. "I'm going to Kendra." My chest tightened. "You're gonna talk to her. I'm gonna give her the one thing she can't ignore," Maya said. "Proof that she's not his fresh start. She's his side hustle." Rosa raised an eyebrow. "And if Kendra doesn't care," Maya shrugged. "Then she'll care when she realizes he's broke, or when she realizes he lies like breathing. Either way, he loses the fantasy." I stared at the ceiling tiles, listening to the steady beep-beep, and felt something inside me settle into place. Evan wanted a perfect wife. So fine, I'd be perfect, quiet, sweet, understanding right up until the moment his whole little world fell apart in his hands. My phone buzzed again. "Evan, be ready when I get there. We need to get this handled." I looked at Maya. She nodded once. "Let him come." And for the first time since the accident, I smiled for real. Because the next time Evan walked into my room, he wasn't walking into a breakup. He was walking into a setup. Evan showed up that evening with a little plastic bag of fast food and a stack of papers like he was bringing groceries, not control. He kissed the air near my forehead, didn't actually touch me, then glanced at my phone like it was a weapon. Hey, he said, you ready to handle this like an adult tonight? I gave him my softest look. Yeah, I want to be easy, I don't want to be a problem. He relaxed right away like he'd trained me. Good. Maya sat in the corner in plain clothes, hair tied back, looking like a tired cousin. Evan didn't recognize her at first, that was the point. When he finally did, his smile twitched. Maya, he said, too bright. Didn't expect you, Maya shrugged. I came to check on my friend, that okay? Evan's jaw tightened, then he forced a laugh. Sure, whatever helps her calm down. He pulled up a chair too close and slapped the clipboard onto my tray again. Sign this, he said, just routine stuff. I leaned forward like I was trying. Can you read it to me? I'm sorry, my head's been weird. He rolled his eyes. It's just billing authorization. Same thing as before. Before, like yesterday? I asked, slow. He nodded fast. Yeah, you were awake, you signed. Maya didn't move, just watched him like a camera with a heartbeat. I let my voice get small. Rosa told me I was sedated. Evan's face flashed just for a second, then he laughed loud and fake. Rosa says a lot of stuff, you can't listen to everybody. He tapped the paper with his finger, tap, 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 impatient. Look, you're stressed because you're scared, but you don't need to be scared, I'm being fair. I nodded like I believed him. Okay, he pointed at the signature line, just sign, then I can move forward. I picked up the pen. I held it over the page like I was about to obey, then I asked very softly, why did you change the mailing address? Evan froze, not a full freeze, but his shoulders went stiff like somebody tugged a string inside him. What? He said, the address, I repeated. The P.O. box, why'd you pick that? His eyes darted to Maya, then back to me. I didn't change anything, you're confused. I blinked slowly. But you texted it to me, you said P.O. Box 1142. He stared at me like I'd just spoken another language, then he leaned in, voice low and sharp. Stop, he hissed, you're making this weird. Maya finally spoke, calm as ice. Why is a P.O. box better, Evan? Evan straightened and went full charm. Because bills get lost at the house, it's practical. Practical for who? Maya asked. He looked at her like she was annoying him on purpose. For me, for her. For everyone, I nodded again, acting tired. Okay, Evan exhaled, relieved, and shoved the clipboard closer. Sign, he said, and don't overthink it. I looked down at the form, then I put the pen down. I can't, I said. His smile fell. What do you mean you can't? I swallowed like I was embarrassed. My bank called. His eyes narrowed. Your bank, I nodded. They said there's fraud, like a new card or something. Maya didn't move, but I could feel her attention sharpen. Evan's face didn't go pale, he went still, that was worse. His eyes went flat, calculating. I don't know what you're talking about, he said slowly. I kept my voice shaky. They said it was opened yesterday. When I was sedated, Evan's lips parted like he was about to snap, then he caught himself. He forced a laugh that sounded like it hurt. Baby, he said, that's impossible, you're on meds. You probably clicked something. I looked at him, wide-eyed. I was sedated. People wake up, he said quick. You don't remember everything, you're not reliable right now. That word reliable hit like a slap. Maya leaned forward. So your story is she opened a new credit card while sedated. Evan glared at her. My story is she's confused. This is why I didn't want her talking to billing. She gets emotional and spirals. I nodded like he was right. I told the bank I didn't do it. Evan's nostrils flared. Why would you do that? I blinked. Because I didn't. Evan's phone buzzed in his pocket. He ignored it. It buzzed again. He grabbed it like he couldn't help himself. His face changed the second he saw the name. He tried to hide it, but I saw it. Kendra read then. A message preview flashed across the screen. Kendra, so your ex is still your wife? You are sick. Evan's throat bobbed. He looked up at me like I'd grown teeth. I kept my face soft. Who's Kendra? It's work. He snapped too fast, then caught himself. Client. Maya leaned back, satisfied, like she just set the last domino. Evan's phone buzzed again. Kendra, don't ever call me again. Evan's hand shook. Just a little. The mask was sliding. He stood up so fast the chair squeaked. This is insane. You two are doing this on purpose. I tilted my head. Doing what? He pointed at me, voice rising. You're trying to ruin me because you're bitter? Bitter? I echoed, small. You served me divorce papers in the ICU. His eyes flashed with rage, then he forced his voice low again like he remembered where he was. You're twisting it. Maya stood up, slow and steady. No one's twisting anything, you just got caught moving like a thief. Evan's face went tight. I'm leaving. He snatched the clipboard, stuffed the papers under his arm, and stormed to the door. Then he paused like a man remembering something important. He turned back to me and said, "Cold, you just made your life harder." I looked up at him and whispered, "Okay." But this time, the okay wasn't surrender, it was a promise. Because the second he walked out, Maya pulled out her phone, showed me a screenshot, and said, "He's coming apart. Now we take the rest." And I knew by the way her eyes didn't blink that part 7 was going to hurt him way worse than losing a girl. The second Evan stormed out, the room got quiet in that loud hospital way, machines humming, hallway footsteps, my own heartbeat thumping like a warning drum. Maya didn't celebrate. She just leaned in and said, "Now we squeeze." Rosa closed the door all the way like she didn't want any of his energy slipping back in. "What do you need from me?" she asked. "Time," Maya said. "And privacy?" Rosa nodded once and said, "You got it," then stood by the door like a bouncer in scrubs. Maya pulled her phone out and showed me the screenshot she'd hinted at. It was a message thread with Kendra, not flirt texts. Not cute stuff, cold, ugly truth. Kendra had typed, "You said she was already gone, you said she signed, then you're not a man, you're a parasite." I stared at it. My throat went tight, but I didn't cry, I just felt steady. "He's losing his favorite toy," I whispered. Maya's eyes stayed hard. "He's losing control, that's what he really loves." Then she said, "Okay, we're gonna make his little plan bite him." I swallowed. "How?" Maya kept it simple. "We lock down your life, we let his life fall apart on its own. So we did the quiet work. I didn't do anything dramatic. I didn't call him, I didn't warn him, I didn't beg." With Maya right there, I tightened everything around me like a knot. I made sure I was the only one who could say yes to anything with my name on it. I made sure my bills and rehab info went straight to me, not through him. And the oh crap fund I'd built, my little safety net, stopped being something he could reach with a smile and a lie. Maya looked at me when it was done. "He thinks you're stuck," she said, "but you're not stuck. You're just sitting." The next day, my phone lit up like a Christmas tree. "Evan, what did you do?" "Evan, answer me." "Evan, my card got declined." I stared at the screen, then looked at Maya. She raised her eyebrows like, "Told you." I typed slowly like I was confused. "Me declined? That's weird. I told you the bank said fraud." "Me, they asked questions and I got scared." "Me, I didn't know what else to do." 3 dots popped up, then disappeared, then popped up again. Finally, "Evan, why would you do that?" "Evan, you're trying to ruin me." Ruin, funny word from a man who served me divorce papers in the ICU. My hands were calm now, my chest wasn't. I typed, "Me, I'm not trying to ruin you. I'm just trying to survive." He called. I didn't answer the first time. I didn't answer the second time. On the third call, I picked up and put it on speaker so Maya could hear. Evan's voice hit my ear like hot steam. "What the hell is wrong with you?" I kept my voice small. "Evan, please don't yell, don't." He choked on his own anger. "My account is locked, my payment didn't go through." I'm standing here looking stupid. I pictured him somewhere bright and clean, maybe a fancy place he didn't deserve, holding his phone like it was going to save him. I let a little silence sit between us. Then I said, "I was sedated when that card opened." He went quiet, not shocked, quiet, caught quiet. Then he tried the same trick again like a reflex. "You don't know that?" "Yes," I said softly, "I do." His breathing got louder. Okay, listen, just fix it, just tell them it's fine." "No," I said, one word, simple, final. "You don't understand," he snapped. "I have things I need to handle." I swallowed. So did I. "But you told me to pay the hospital bills myself." He exhaled, sharp. "That's not what I meant." "It's exactly what you meant," I said, still calm. Maya leaned close and whispered, "Let him beg." So I did. Evan's voice dropped, suddenly gentle, suddenly fake sad. "Baby, come on, don't do this, you're emotional right now." I almost laughed. Instead I said, "I'm not emotional, I'm clear." His voice cracked a little. "You're gonna make me lose everything." I stared at my blanket, at my useless legs, at the IV line taped to my skin. Then I said, "That's how it feels." Silence. Then finally the mask slipped all the way. He whispered, rough and ugly, "You're doing this to punish me." I didn't yell, I didn't curse, I didn't act dramatic. I just said, "No, Evan, I'm doing this because you taught me what you are." His breathing turned shaky. And that's when I heard it, something in the background on his end. A woman's voice, sharp and disgusted. "Evan, stop calling her, you're pathetic." Kendra, he tried to cover the phone. Shut up, he hissed. I held my own phone tighter. Because it wasn't just that his money was slipping. His image was cracking in real time. He came back to the hospital an hour later, moving fast, eyes wild like a man chasing a door that's closing. Rosa stepped in front of him at the nurse's station and said, "You can't go in if you're gonna yell." Evan forced a smile so hard it looked painful. "I'm calm." Rosa didn't move. "Prove it?" He looked past her, straight at my room door like he could already see me inside. Then he said, "Too quiet, too cold, she's gonna regret this." And my stomach didn't drop anymore, it didn't shake me. Because now I knew something Evan didn't. He wasn't the one holding the leash. I was. Evan came in the next afternoon with flowers that looked like they were grabbed last second from a grocery store. His face was softer than usual, eyes shiny like he'd practiced in the car mirror. "Hey," he said, quiet. "I've been thinking." I blinked slow, like I was tired. "Yeah." He stepped closer and put the flowers down like they meant something. "I'm sorry about how it all happened, the ICU thing. I was stressed." I didn't answer fast. I let the silence hang so he'd fill it. He swallowed. "I didn't mean it the way it sounded." Maya sat in the corner again, still as a statue. Evan ignored her on purpose. I touched the petals with my fingertips like I cared. "You said I was a burden." His jaw tightened just a flicker. "I was angry and scared. This isn't the life I pictured." There it was again, me. I nodded like I understood. "Okay." He perked up at that. He took okay like a door cracking open. He pulled a chair close and leaned forward. "Look, we can fix this. We can make it clean." "Clean," I repeated. "Yeah," he said. "No fighting, no extra drama. You just undo what you did with the bank." Maya's eyes narrowed, but she didn't speak. Evan kept going, voice smooth. "Tell them it was a misunderstanding. Tell them you must have clicked something, whatever. Then the accounts unlock, the transfer goes through, and you," he pointed at me like I was a task, "you stop spiraling." My throat felt tight, but my voice stayed small. "You want the transfer to go through?" His smile strained. "It's our money." "No," I said softly. "It's the money you moved while I was sedated." He exhaled hard, then switched tactics fast. The sweet voice died. "Okay, enough," he snapped. "I'm trying to help you and you're acting crazy." Crazy. The word was like a slap he thought he could hide in a hug. I looked down at my hands. "I'm not crazy." "You don't even know what you signed," he said louder. "You're on meds. You're confused. You're letting your friend in your head." Maya finally spoke, calm as ice. "He loves that word, don't he? Confused." Evan shot her a look full of hate, then leaned in closer to me, voice low and sharp. "I'm offering you a deal because I'm not a monster." I lifted my eyes. "What deal?" He tapped his stack of papers. "I pay a portion of the hospital bills, a portion, and you stop this fraud nonsense. You sign what I put in front of you. And you stop talking to people." There it was, not love, a leash. I swallowed, acting scared. "Why do I have to sign more things?" "Because it's what adults do," he said. "You can't live in a fantasy. You're not getting better overnight. And I'm not your nurse." Rosa was nearby in the hall, but Evan didn't see her. He just kept talking, confident. "You think you can punish me," he said. "You think you can make me hurt like you hurt." I let my voice shake a little. "I didn't plan to, I got scared." His shoulders loosened like he'd won again. "Then fix it." I nodded once. "Okay." Evan smiled, relieved, smug, then I added very quietly, "But I need something from you too." His smile paused. "What?" I looked at him like I was embarrassed to ask. "I need you to write it down, just the truth, so my brain stops spinning, like a simple note for me." Evan blinked. "A note?" "Yeah," I whispered. "Just so I feel safe." He laughed under his breath like it was pathetic. "Fine, what do you want it to say?" I kept it simple. Simple words, easy to understand, no fancy stuff. I handed him the notebook Maya brought and said, "Right." I changed the mailing address to a P.O. box. I handled the accounts while she was sedated. I asked her to stay quiet. Just that. Evan stared at me. The air went tight. "That's stupid," he said. "I won't be able to sleep if you don't," I whispered. "Please." He looked at Maya, then back at me. He wanted the bank thing fixed. He wanted his money back. He wanted control more than pride, so he wrote it. Not perfectly, not neatly, but he wrote it. And then he signed it like he always wanted me to sign. Maya's phone buzzed in her lap. She glanced down once and her mouth twitched. Evan didn't notice. He was too busy feeling like he'd won. "Now call the bank," he said, pushing the notebook back to me like it was nothing. I nodded. "Okay." He leaned in, voice dropping. "And one more thing. Don't ever say her name again. Her? I asked, innocent. He froze, then he recovered fast with a fake laugh. No one, I meant don't say anyone's name. Stop involving people. I looked at him, soft and quiet. Evan, is Kendra mad at you? His face went hard. Don't. Maya stood up slowly. Too late. Evan snapped his head toward her. What did you do? Maya didn't raise her voice. She just held up her phone, screen facing me, not him. A message thread. Maya, right arrow. Evan's mom. I'm sorry to bother you. I'm her friend. She's in the ICU. He served her divorce papers there. Here's his sign note. Evan's eyes went wide like someone yanked the floor out from under him. That's private, he hissed, voice shaking. Maya smiled, small, mean, controlled. So was her sedation. Evan's phone rang right then. Mom lit up on the screen. He stared at it like it was a gun. Then he looked at me, voice breaking in a way that wasn't love, just panic. What the hell did you do? I met his eyes, calm as still water. Nothing, I said softly. I just stopped protecting you. He snatched his phone and stumbled out into the hall to answer. And through the thin hospital door, I heard his mother's voice, loud, sharp, disgusted, like she'd finally seen him clearly. I heard Evan's mom through the door before I saw him, sharp, loud, disgusted. You served her papers in the ICU while she couldn't even stand. Are you out of your mind? Evan's voice came back thin and shaky. Mom, lower your voice. No, she snapped. You lower your shame. Rosa stepped into my room like a shield and said quietly, he's in the hall, he's upset, you want him in here? I looked at the flowers he brought yesterday, already drooping in the plastic cup. Give me 2 minutes. Maya leaned close. Don't argue, don't explain, just let him feel it. I nodded once. My throat was tight, but my head was clear. Okay, I whispered. Rosa cracked the door. Evan slipped in like he owned the place, then stopped when he saw my face. His hair was messy, his eyes were red, he looked smaller, not sorry, just scared. He held his phone up like evidence. You did this, he hissed. I stared at him. You did this? He scoffed, but it came out weak. My accounts are locked, my card got declined at the dealership, my phone plan, he swallowed. My mom just cut it off, she called me a liar. Maya didn't say a word. She just watched him like he was something stuck under a shoe. Evan stepped closer to my bed. Fix it. My voice stayed soft. Fix what? You know what, he snapped. Then he tried to catch himself, tried to go sweet. Baby, please. Just call the bank and tell them it was a mistake. I tilted my head. Was it a mistake when you changed the address? His jaw clenched. Was it a mistake when you opened a credit card in my name while I was sedated? I asked. He didn't answer. He looked at the floor like the tiles might save him. Then he did the thing he always did. He tried to twist reality like it was rubber. You don't understand what you're doing, he said, voice tight. You're gonna ruin both of us. I nodded slowly. No, you tried to ruin me. I'm just not letting you. He exhaled hard, angry. I'm the one who's been handling everything. You mean hiding everything, Maya said, calm as ice. Evan spun on her. Shut up, this is between me and my wife. I looked up at him. I'm not your wife anymore, you made sure of that. His eyes flashed rage first, then panic. Okay, fine, then be smart, you need rehab. You need money, I can still help you if you stop acting like this. Like what? I asked. He swallowed. Like you're trying to punish me. I didn't raise my voice, I didn't curse. I just stared until he couldn't hide behind his own noise. You called me a burden, I said. In the ICU, in front of machines keeping me alive. He rolled his eyes, desperate. I said stuff, I was stressed. Yeah, I said. And I was in a wheelchair. His phone buzzed again. He glanced down and I saw the name on the screen even though he tried to hide it. Not Kendra. Dad. Evan's face went gray. He answered, voice shaking. Dad? A man's voice came through, loud enough that even I could hear pieces of it. Don't call me Dad right now. Your mother showed me what you wrote. She showed me what you did. I'm done bailing you out. Evan's mouth opened like he wanted to argue, but nothing came out. The voice continued, cold and final. Your car, it's in my name too. I'm taking it back. You can Uber. Evan's hand started to tremble. He tried to laugh, but it sounded like a cough. You can't. I can, the voice said, and I am. The call ended. Evan just stood there staring at his dead screen like it betrayed him. Then he looked at me and his face crumpled, not into regret but into need. Please, he said, hoarse. I'll do anything. Maya leaned close to my ear and whispered, now. I took a slow breath. I made my voice gentle, almost kind. Okay, I said. Evan's whole body relaxed like he'd been holding up a wall with his bare hands, then I finished the sentence. Okay, leave. His eyes went wide. What? You heard me, I said. You wanted a perfect wife, you wanted no burden, so here's me being perfect. I reached down, slid my wedding ring off, and set it on the tray. It made a tiny metal click that felt louder than his yelling ever did. Evan stared at it like it was a body. You can't do this, he whispered. I can, I said, and I am. Rosa opened the door. Time, she told him, firm. Evan looked at Maya like he wanted to blame her, then at me like he wanted to break me, then finally like he didn't know who I was anymore. Because he didn't, he backed up, stumbled once, then walked out without another word. When the door shut, my room felt lighter, my chest still hurt, my legs still didn't work. But the panic was gone. Maya squeezed my hand. You good? I looked at the ring on the tray, then at the wheelchair by the wall, and for the first time I didn't feel ashamed of it. No, I said softly, I'm better. I wasn't the burden, he was.